Good morning, Dan Caldwell here, and just want to greet you today. And I have a few thoughts along the area of responsibility. Now, I'm a person of faith. If you're not, you may want to remove yourself from the stream. But I want to read a passage of scripture and then make a few comments about responsibility. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 20, and I'm not going to read all of that, but it starts out with, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. So let me just stop right there and tell you that we do have a real adversary, an enemy to our faith. One who will do anything to stop our progress and even our process. But we don't have to fear him. He has literally stopped many people with lies in the head that lead to dread. Things like, you can't do this, or you can't live this. You've tried before and you failed. I would like to take just a moment for us to notice some action words in the passage of scripture that I directed earlier. You see, while he is fighting for us, there are some things that we must do for ourselves so that we can and will continue to fight. Okay. And that he will continue to fight for us. Again, I'm a person of faith. So please, my comments are based on that. Please notice how the text starts out. Finally, this is the end of the thing. You need to know this is the bottom line. And then he refers to us as brethren, which is the area of relationship. Paul's laid out a battle plan for the Ephesians, and it's for us today also. Don't approach the fight or this fight in your own strength. Be strong, not in yourself or your might, but in the Lord. And the conjunction says, and, I like that word, the power of his might, not your might. The word might means ability or force or strength. Let me say it this way. His ability, his force, his strength. Remember, only God can defeat this enemy. He's our protector, our defender, our deliverer, our provider, our guide. He's already given us everything that we need to defeat this enemy. How many of you believe that spiritual growth is necessary? Yes or no? Well, I believe all living things grow. And so when I surrendered my life to the Lord, things were not supposed to stop. You were supposed to begin to mature, not by strength or might, but by his spirit and by the putting on. Catch up here. By the putting on. You have to put it on. No one's going to put it on for you. How many of you got dressed today? Well, maybe you didn't because of the pandemic and you're sitting there in your pajamas right now watching this stream. But the reason that we get dressed is so we can stand against, or I like that word, stand against, means to push back. And what are we going to push back against? The wiles, the trickery, the deceit, the craftiness of the enemy. We need to put it on so we can push back against all those negative thoughts and those negative actions that we're having during the pandemic time. You see, our enemy is not people. It's not people that disagree with us. It's not even flesh and blood, but it's against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness. And the scripture says in high places. We need to grow so we can go and do what we were put on the planet to do. If you do not believe it's necessary to grow, then you're probably stagnant. But if you do believe it's necessary to grow, what are you doing with that in mind? You see, we're already to month number 5 into 2020, and it's been an unusual year for all of us, hasn't it? But let's define that word growth for just a minute. Growth is defined as the process of increasing in size, upward, outward, sprouting, blooming, maturing. It's similar to a man's beard growth. It grows every day and continues to grow as long as there's life. In fact, after death, it continues growing for a period of time. You see, all living things continue to grow. Growth is an uphill march, carrying with it discomfort, stretching, pain, and even perhaps deep levels of concern because of the unknown for some, but for the known for others. Your personal growth can and will make a difference in everything that you do. Do you have a plan for growth? Then why not? If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. All sustained growth takes place outside of your comfort zone. While physical growth is a natural process of God's handiwork, personal growth is not a natural process at all. And some like to believe that it is. I hear people talk all the time. We have, or we should have, or you need a goal. But I don't believe that we even understand what that word means. I think they confuse goal with growth. A goal will only help you grow if it's focused on growth. A goal is the object of a person's ambition, aim, or desired results. While growth is about development and maturity, it's about being able to do something and do some things for yourself. So I want to just declare that today, the people that are watching and listening, that we're moving upward and we're moving toward growth. So in order to do that, we have to be responsible for ourselves. In fact, I want you just to say it out loud to yourself right now. I'm responsible. Okay, I know. You're there. There may be people around, but most of us are sequestered in our own offices, our own homes. Go ahead, say it out loud. I'm responsible. And when you're responsible, we're moving out of the place of self-imposed confinement. You see, the box with limitations and restrictions, limiting beliefs and sabotaging beliefs, self-sabotaging beliefs. We're moving forward and we're moving out. And the only way you can do that is by being responsible. Real growth starts with a thought, followed by preparation and then fleshed out in action. It all begins by being, that's the word, responsible. Everything we've learned has been learned in one of two ways. You either learn it by comparison, and that is to say by what is right. And example is, I put gas in the car so it can continue to take me where I want to go. I eat food and drink water so my body continues to function properly. Or it's learned by contrast, having to do some things over again because we made a mistake or an error in that process. And we begin to learn how not to do it, right? So can we do it different the next time? Well, example, I know that you've probably heard this. When I was a child, we had open stoves in rooms, individual rooms, burning, that was constantly hot. And we were told, now don't touch that stove, it'll burn you. So obviously, what did we do? We touched the stove and we found out you can't do that or you shouldn't do that. And people were telling us the truth. You see, it's about responsibility. Be responsible for what you've learned and be responsible for growing yourself. What does responsibility mean? And I'm going to end here with my comments. Responsibility is an obligation, a duty, the cause agent or source of change, the ability to distinguish between right and wrong, and then think and act rationally. I like that. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic. And the question is, are you thinking and acting rationally? How responsible are you? How responsible are you willing to be with your life? And how responsible are you willing to be with those that God has given you the oversight of? Be responsible today. Accept responsibility. Grow up. Be mature. We were put on the planet to encourage and support and help others. Abraham Maslow, in his hierarchy of human needs, states that the number one need of humanity is that they must feel and be safe. Being safe causes one to take responsibility. And please, I said a mouthful right there. And I want to leave you with that thought. Take responsibility. Take charge of your own destiny. Be encouraged. This too shall pass. And whatever you do, keep the fire burning. God bless until the next time.